Hello, my name is Valentine Okolo, and you are welcome again to my channel. Now, this video today is a follow-up video to the first video that I did when I was talking about turnaround strategies to help you navigate through that struggling business. Now, this is a follow-up series, just like I said in the first video. So if you haven't seen the first video, please head back to my channel and watch the first video. In that first video, I actually broke down these turnaround strategies that would help you to identify a business that is struggling or to try to help you to navigate out of that ailing business. I broke it down into what I called the policy strategies and then the marketing strategies. So and I further broke down that policy strategies when I talked about the first two aspects of it. I talked about the differentiated service delivery, and I also talked about budgeting and costing strategies. So if you haven't seen that video, please you need to watch it so that you can understand how budgeting and costing strategies can affect your business, and you can also understand how differentiated service delivery can also affect your business and make it go down. So if you haven't watched that, please head over back to my channel and watch those particular videos. Now in this video, I'll be moving forward. We will not be reviewing all the things we've talked about in the last video. If you want to watch the last video, go look for it and watch it. Here we'll be moving forward with the next um, issue that we need to watch out for under what I classified as policy strategies. Now, before we go any further, if you just have been enjoying all that I've been saying so far, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel so that you can keep receiving other videos just like this one. Now, it is your subscription and your like buttons that will keep encouraging me to keep producing more stellar content like this. So please hit the subscribe button and let's get things going. Okay, so now let's head right into the meat of the matter, as I would always say. So we've been talking about these policy strategies that we identified as part of what we look out for when our business is not hitting the numbers, when we're not getting the sales as we ought to. Today we're going to be looking at another aspect of what I call those policy strategies. Today we're going to be looking at risk management strategies. Now, every business you know out there has one or two risks that it faces. But as a business person, as a startup person, or you've been into business, what do you know about the kind of risk that your business actually faces? Because if you don't know much about risk management, you run the risk of getting your business drowned. Your business can drown in the mirage of risk that are out there. So, what do you know about business risk? How do you know you can manage your business risk? Because this is very, very important for you if you must navigate through that business. And if you must navigate successfully through the business world, you must know how to manage your business risk. Okay. So we're going to be heading right into the meat of the matter. Now, there are different kinds of risk that a business faces. You need to understand this. Every business is unique in itself. Some of these risks cut across virtually all businesses. Some of them will be particularly unique to your business. So if your business is actually struggling right now at this particular point in time, you need to look at one or two or three of these risks, or look at all of what I'm going to mention right now, identify which one actually is affecting your business so that you can actually start working on it and taking corrective actions immediately. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is what we call financial risk. Financial risk. So you need to look at your business and find out the financial risk, if it is actually what is affecting your business. In this financial risk, we're talking about things like operating capital. Okay, does your business have enough operating capital? I think I talked about operating capital when I was talking about operating cost also in the first video. So we're talking about your operating capital. Some people would like to look at it as your liquidity risk. Is it in place? Do you have enough money to keep running the business? That's what we mean by operating capital. Do you have enough money to keep running the business? Now, if you do, you're in good shape. If you don't, it means you need to raise more money, right? to get your business running. So your business should not run out of operating capital. This is very, very important. It affects a lot of people when they do poor budgeting. That's why we talked about the budgeting strategies in the last video. So if you didn't budget properly, if you didn't anticipate some things you have to be spending on to keep your business running, then your business can this kind of risk can actually affect your business. Something that can also affect you in this financial risk is what we call poor investment choices. Some companies make poor investment choices. They could invest in the wrong things, and these things can actually affect the company's business. Another thing that can also affect is lack of access to credit. Okay, so especially if you're running a very big business that depends on constant access to credit lines, you need to watch it out. Are you having problems with credit? Okay, and I'm going to tell you how you're going to take care of this much later in this video if you're having this issue. Now, the next kind of risk that you need to watch out for is what I call the market risk. Now, this one is very, very important. A lot of people don't look out for it, but this kind of things can run your business to the ground. So you need to look at, are you suffering from, is your business suffering from a market risk? What is a market risk? A market risk is anything that exists within the market that can actually drive that business down. Now, we're talking about things like new entrants, competition. Okay, so you probably have not thought about this before, but somebody is coming in newly into the market. They want to gain market share. Okay, if you have five players in the market, if one other person joins and becomes six, you have more competition, right? So you used to deal with four people before, but now you have to deal with five. And the other person is not coming in to play, he's coming in to win, he's coming in to gain a part of that market share. The more they come in, the more competition you have to deal with, and the more persons you have trying to grab the same market share. Okay, so you have to protect your market share. We're going to talk about all of that extensively when we talk about marketing and distribution strategies. Okay, so not to worry about that, we'll talk about that. Now, some other things that can affect you in the market is what we call favorable market locations. Probably you started off a business, you didn't do your feasibility studies well, you thought a location was pretty good for the business, and now you discover that that location is not all you thought it was. It could actually affect your potential to make profit. You're not getting the right people there. Your business is located in a place where access to raw materials are difficult, or probably access to human capital is difficult to get people to work for you. The right people is difficult because of where your business is situated, or probably you don't have access to raw materials, as I said, or maybe distribution is going to be a problem where you're situated for you to distribute products to the market where it needs to be sold, where your customers are. Is a challenge. These are the things you need to look at. These are things we call market risk that can actually affect the business. Some other things that can affect you that come under this market risk are things like interest rates. Okay, so what is your access to interest? And then what is the exchange rate? Exchange rate can affect you. If exchange rate is going up, it will cause inflation. If inflation goes up, it means you're going to spend more to purchase things that you were spending lesser to purchase. This could affect your cost. It could affect the price of your product, and it could affect how the product does in the market. So if the exchange rate, for instance, is going up, probably the exchange rate used to be 10%, and now it has gone up by 90% because of one or two things that happen, maybe the government policies or favorable government policies or things like that. And now exchange rate are jacked up, and you used to import your raw materials from outside the country. So now you have to pay more to bring them in. It becomes a problem. Or now you need to pay more to transport them. It becomes a problem. It will all go into the pricing of your product. And if it goes into the pricing of your product, if your product keeps going up, it keeps getting out of the reach of certain kinds of customers. Okay, so the higher the price of the product, the lesser the reach it has. Maybe and so you begin to affect the business negatively. So how do you deal with this? These are things you need to think about. These are things I'll be helping to explain later when I talk about how we can deal with this risk. But I'll be talking about market risk especially, and what we can do with our market and with our products, with our services when I begin to talk about marketing and distribution strategy. So you need to stay with all the series of these videos that I will be sharing. The other thing I want to talk about is what I call economic risk. Okay, what do we mean by economic risk? These are things that happen due to macroeconomic forces. Okay, now we're talking about things like policy changes, inflation, just like I talked about before, specifically now, things like inflation, things like exchange rate, things like interest rates. What are the interest rates that you're getting from your credit partners, from your banks? These things can affect the pricing of your products. If you're not getting good interest rates, if your interest rates are high, it will affect the actual cost of doing business and the cost of the product and the service that you're going to render. What are the employment levels in the country? What is available to you? These are things that happen in the economy. Is the economy doing well? Is it doing badly? If it's doing well, it's going to rub off on a lot of businesses. If it's doing badly, it's going to rub off on a lot of businesses. So these are the things that you need to look out for. Another thing you have to look out for, another kind of risk, is what I call production risk. Okay, now production risk is anything in the line of production that can actually affect the business. Okay, now you may think this is not important, but it's also very important. Now you want to make sure that you have access to all the equipment that your business actually needs, and that you have the right kind of people to man these equipments and give you the kind of result that you actually want to get out of it. So you need to also ensure that the kind of product you're turning out has good quality and that the quantity is sufficient enough for the market. So it's one thing for you to have the quantities and you're not having the quality. It's going to run your business down. Customers are going to start looking elsewhere for products that have a better quality. So you need to watch out for your production risk. You don't want anything that would make the actual outcome of what it is you're going to render to fall below par or not to be to the taste of the people that you're rendering that service or that product to. Another thing I want to talk about is what we call legal risk. What kind of business are you into? Is it the kind of business that is susceptible to lawsuits, or is it the kind of business that you're going to be having to deal with a lot of regulatory changes? These are things you need to consider if you must get that business out of the ground and not running into issues. Something else we do consider is what we call social political risk. Now, these things happen due to maybe things like change of governments. New governments are coming in and then they need to be changed. You also have social unrest. Some places are vulnerable to these things: social unrest, um, political changes, new party structures coming, and then there's a complete overturn of the political climate in that nation, and it can affect your business. A new government can come in and bring in new policies that can just toss your business all over the place. Okay, new presidents come in and they say, hey, look, we're shifting ground from what it used to be. This is what we want it to be. And then they pass an executive order and everything actually changes. So you need to pay attention to these things. Now you have little control over social political risk, but if you are well prepared, companies that are organizations that are well prepared can actually deal with these things better. Of course, you need to keep studying the political climate in the country that you're doing business in, or in the countries that you're doing business in, and you have to be prepared for whatever it is coming. If a new government is coming, you need to be interested in what they are interested in, and don't just wait until they dish out the policies and then you're struggling to survive. You need to adapt quickly, and if possible, you need to anticipate what is coming when they start talking about what they want to do during election periods. You need to pay attention to what it is they are saying. If they are saying things that are going to affect your market, you need to start adjusting, making adjustments to accept what it is that they are saying is going to come on board if they win that particular election. Another thing that I'm going to talk about is what we call management risk. The management risk has to do with the kind of management that you have on board. Now, in most cases, this could be due to poor strategic decision making. Okay, you need a management that actually knows what they are doing and actually knows how to implement what it is they want to do. Okay, sometimes you go to some organizations, it's being run by a family, it's a family business. They don't, you have people, maybe one or two man business, people are not, they don't listen to instructions, or probably they don't listen to any other person, they just want to do what they want to do. Or you have family members placed in certain places and then they're not able to take the right decisions, or they're not qualified to actually lead, and then you begin to see the business begin to struggle. Okay, so what do you do in this kind of situation? How do you manage it? These are the things you need to do. And if you're running a one-man business, then you need to be open to receive credible intelligence, credible advice that will help your business to grow. If not, your business may run down to the ground. Okay, now the last thing I want to talk about is what we call a human resource risk. Now, this human resource risk is very important. It's likened to what I just talked about right now. A human resource risk can come up when you employ the wrong set of persons. You have the wrong people coming in, people who are not knowledgeable, people who don't understand what it is they're coming to do. Maybe they're just employed because they're related to somebody in the business, or things like that. These kind of things can run your business to the ground. Or you have high employee attrition, which means employees are leaving the business because compensation is not good, or there's no promotion, or the company policies are not favorable and people are leaving, and then you're having problems replacing them. Don't forget, these are the same people that will mind your production units. These are the same people that will help you with marketing. These are the same people that will help you with accounting. So if you have the wrong set of people in business, when I talked about budgeting and costing strategies in the first video, you will get it all wrong because you have the wrong people there. If you have the wrong people in management, just like I talked about management risk, you will get all of it wrong. If you have the wrong set of people doing all your analysis, your economic analysis, your market analysis, and they are doing it all wrong, your business will go down. So, in essence, human resource risk is important. You may think it's not important, but it's very, very important because if you don't have the right set of persons manning your business could run down fast. So, you want to get the right set of people at all times running your business. So basically, now that we've identified all of these risks, we've identified financial risk that can affect your business, marketing risk, economic risk, production risk, legal risk, social political risk, management risk, and human resource risk. We've talked about all of these things. Now, what we need to talk about is what can you do to manage this risk? Now, apart from the things I'm going to say right now, if you've looked at any of these things I've mentioned before, and you find yourself or your business wanting in any of these aspects, you need to do a critical review. You need to look at it. You need to find ways around it. But of course, if you also need a business analyst to help you with that, I'm also a business analyst. I can do that for you. As a matter of fact, I'm a business analyst. Also an accountant. I'm a virtual assistant, so I work remotely. I'm also into logistics. I'm also into business process analysis. So if you need someone to help you with all of that, just hit me up. um, you can DM me or send a mail to valentinocola@hotmail.com, and I can handle all of that for you. Now, how basically can you manage this risk? There are three basic ways, probably four, that you can use to identify this. And the first one is to transfer the risk. Okay, it's a wise decision to transfer risk that you can transfer. What does transfer the risk mean? Outsource it. Don't try to deal with it on your own if there's somebody else that can deal with it in a better way. For instance, you're having logistical problems and you've looked at it, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Maybe you need trucks to move products around, and you've looked at the cost of trucking, and your business is not strong enough to accommodate the cost. Instead of putting a lot of strain on your business, outsource it. Outsource the movement of products, outsource it to somebody else, pay a minimal amount of money, and then use the money to actually grow your business. Okay, so there are certain aspects of the business that you don't need to spend so much on. Okay, you need to outsource it to other people who have the specialty to do it, and they're going to get it done for you. Okay, so you're having legal issues, you don't have the right set of people to handle it, outsource it. Probably you need to handle anything that you need to handle that is causing you a problem. If it can be outsourced and the cost can be managed, then you should outsource it and get somebody else to deal with that risk. If that person can deal with it comfortably well and get you out of the red, you should very much consider that. Another thing you can consider doing is to mitigate the risk. Now, you would want to consider mitigating the risk if the cost is within your reach. You've seen it that the cost is within your reach, or it's something you can manage internally. Okay, you've looked at it. Okay, I can manage this internally. We can put in A, B, and C things in place to manage it. We don't need to outsource it. Probably it has to do with your personnel. You can decide to say, okay, let our HR persons deal with it. Or some people might say, okay, we want to outsource staffing issues. We don't want to deal with this kind of staffs. We're going to outsource it out, let somebody else get us the best hands. So it's all up to you whether you want to transfer the risk, whether you want to mitigate the risk. You need to consider which option will be better for you, which option will actually be cost effective for you, which course of action will actually give you the best cost benefit analysis. Okay, the last or the other thing you need to do is you can ignore the risk. Okay, so why and when can you ignore a risk? You can ignore a risk if you've looked at probably the financial implication and you've observed and seen that it is something that you guys can deal with internally, or it is something that is unavoidable. Probably it has to do with a new regulatory change. You know, you just can't do anything about it, you just have to deal with it. So you can't do any other thing, you just ignore it. Okay, so there are risks that you have to ignore. You just allow it play out and you let it slide. You can, if you look at it and maybe the cost is something you can shoulder, you just shoulder it and then you move on. Yeah, especially if it's not going to run your business to the ground. So you can shoulder it and then you can move on. But if it's going to run your business to the ground, then you cannot ignore it. You either have to transfer it or you need to mitigate it. Another thing you can do is to avoid it, just like we said. So if you can avoid it completely, then you should avoid it completely. Now we've come almost to the end of this video. If you've not subscribed to this video, subscribe to it, and please, 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 put the like, um, hit the like button also on this video so I can keep making great contents like this for you. Once again, I want to sincerely thank you for watching this video to the end. Now, if you're looking to discover more strategies for your business, please head over to KDP Amazon and buy my book, Winning Crazy Customers. You'll be more than glad that you did. That book is filled with strategies that could help you build your customer base. Now, also, if you're looking to hire a virtual assistant who can help you with administrative or operational support, you can send me a personal mail at valentineokolo@hotmail.com. If you also need a business analyst to help you with business advisory services, also send me a mail at valentineokolo@hotmail.com. Now, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.